devotee who claims to be Vaishnava must guard against the offenses in order to achieve the desired success Krishna Prema. Once again, thank you very much for joining the Bhakti Sangha conference call today, and I welcome all of you. Let us move to our next session, which is Srimad Bhagavatam class. May now all have joined the call this morning.
हरे कृष्ण माता जी, दंडवत प्रणाम। श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय, गुरु महाराज की जय। प्रीति दासी फ्रॉम शार्लोट। हरे कृष्ण।
Hare Krishna Priti Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to Guru Maharaj. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining the class. Hare Krishna.
हरे कृष्ण।
Hare Krishna Mataji, this is Radha Kamadadas Namaya from Austin, Texas. Please accept our humble obeisances. All glories to Guru Maharaj, all glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to all the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Radha Damodar Prabhuji and Atma Maya Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. Thank you so much, Prabhuji and Mataji, for joining us. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna Vardhana Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. This is Radhika from Baltimore. Hare Krishna Radhika Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining the call. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Pranam. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj and to assembled devotees. My name is Niharika from Omaha. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Niharika Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining the call. Hare Krishna.
हरे कृष्ण Vardhana Mataji. Oh, go ahead, Mataji.
Go ahead, Tiffany Mataji, please.
Oh, thank you. Hare Krishna Vardhana Mataji. Dandavat pranams. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to Guru Maharaj, and all glories to the assembled devotees. This is Tiffany in Pennsylvania. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Tiffany Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining the call. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Vardhana Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Guru Maharaj ki jai. This is Vinita Gandharva Devidasi from Texas. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Vinita Gandharva Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining the call. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Vardhana Mataji, all glories to Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. My humble obeisances to you and all the devotees. This is Chakumari Devidasi from Nagpur.
Hare Krishna Krishna Kumari Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining the call. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. All glories to Guru Pada, all glories to Guru Maharaj. This is Mohini Lakshmi from Detroit.
Hare Krishna Mohini Lakshmi Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining the call. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Vardhana Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Guru Maharaj ki jai. This is Shyamal Dorasi from Charlotte.
Hare Krishna Shamgari Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining the call. Hare Krishna. Does anybody else would like to introduce themselves?
The recording has started.
Hare Krishna, welcoming all of you to the Bhakti Sangha conference call. Today we are very fortunate to have Her Grace Kalashida Mataji. Mataji is going to enlighten us on the topic of Srimad Bhagavatam, 4th canto, 24th chapter, 60 verse. Hare Krishna Mataji, are you present on the call?
Hare Krishna Vardhana Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Srila Guru Maharajas.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to Guru Maharaj. Thank you so much, Mataji, for giving your valuable time and association to us this morning and enlightening on this topic, Srimad Bhagavatam. I'll hand out the call to you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much for this opportunity to serve. Very grateful to all of you. Thank you. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudire Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nandagopakumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha Nama Pankajanabhaya Nama Pankajamaline Nama Pankajanetraya Namaste Pankajangraye Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Mukham karoti vachalam pangur langayate girim Yat kripatamaham vande Shri Gurung Dinatarinam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 24, Text 61. Chapter 24 entitled Chanting the Song Sung by Lord Shiva. Text 61. Yo maya yedam purusha rupa yashrichat bibharti bhuya kshipayat avikriyaha yad bheda buddhi sad ivatma dushtaya tvam atmatantram bhagavan pratimahi. Translation. My dear Lord, you have manifold energies, and these energies are manifested in manifold forms. With such energies, you have created this cosmic manifestation, and although you maintain it as if it were permanent, you ultimately annihilate it. Although you are never disturbed by such changes and alterations, the living entities are disturbed by them, and therefore they find the cosmic manifestation to be different or separated from you. My Lord, you are always independent, and I can clearly see this fact. Purport by Srila Prabhupada, Jai Srila Prabhupada. It is clearly explained that Lord Krishna has multi-energies, which can be grouped into three, namely the external energy, the internal energy, and the marginal energy. There are also different cosmic manifestations, namely the spiritual world and the material world, as well as different types of living entities. Some living entities are conditioned, and others are eternally free. The eternally free living entities are called Nitya Mukta, for they never come in contact with the material energy. However, some living entities are conditioned in this material world, and thus they think themselves separated from the Supreme Lord. Due to their contact with the material energy, their existence is always troublesome. Being always in distress, the conditioned soul considers the material energy to be very much disturbing. This fact is explained by a Vaishnava Kavi or poet, Krishna Bhulishay Jeev Anadi Bahirmukh, Ataiva Mayatare Dai Shamshara Dukh. When the living entity forgets the Supreme Lord and wants to enjoy himself independently, imitating the Supreme Lord, he is captured by the false notion that he is the enjoyer and is separated from the Supreme Lord. This material energy is therefore very much troublesome to the spiritual energy, the living entity. But the material energy is never troublesome to the Supreme Lord. Indeed, for the Supreme Lord, both material and spiritual energy are the same. In this verse, Lord Shiva explains that the material energy is never troublesome to the Supreme Lord. The Supreme Lord is always independent, but because the living entities are not independent, due to their false idea of becoming independently happy, the material energy is troublesome. Consequently, the material energy creates differentiation. Because the Mayavadi philosophers cannot understand this, they want to be relieved from the material energy. However, because a Vaishnava philosopher is in full knowledge of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he finds no disturbance even in the material energy. This is because he knows how to utilize the material energy for the service of the Lord. In the government, the criminal department and civil department may appear different in the eyes of the citizens, but in the eyes of the government, both departments are one and the same. The criminal department is troublesome for the criminal, but not for the obedient citizen. Similarly, this material energy is troublesome for the conditioned soul, but it has nothing to do with the liberated souls who are engaged in the service of the Lord. Through the Purusha Avatara Mahavishnu, the Supreme Personality of Godhead created the whole cosmic manifestation. Simply by breathing out all the universes, the Lord creates and maintains the cosmic manifestation as Lord Vishnu. Then, as Sankarshan, he annihilates the cosmic manifestation. Yet, despite the creation, maintenance, and destruction of the cosmos, the Lord is not affected. The various activities of the Lord must be very disturbing to the tiny living entities. But since the Lord is supremely great, he is never affected. Lord Shiva or any other pure devotee can see this clearly without being blinded by Bheda Buddhi or differentiation. For a devotee, the Lord is the supreme spirit soul. Since he is the supremely powerful, his various powers are also spiritual. For a devotee, there is nothing material, for material existence only means forgetfulness of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Om Jnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmulitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Radhanath Swaminiti Namine Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Jayapataka Swaminiti Namine Nama Acharya Padaya Nithai Kripa Pradayane Gora Katha Dhamadaya Nagara Gramatarine Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshadayine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangolangaya Tegirim Yat Kripatamaham Vande Shri Gurung Dinatarinam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram Hare Krishna. What a beautiful purport to this wonderful verse that Srila Prabhupada has given us. This beautiful purport and very wonderful verse spoken by Lord Shiva to the Prachetas. This entire chapter is how the Prachetas have been met by Lord Shiva himself. The Prachetas, as we know, they are descendants of Maharaj Prithu, and they are, coming to render service, render austerities for pleasing Lord Vishnu. That was the reason why they left the palace. And when the Devatas, when they find that, any living entity is coming towards Lord Vishnu, the devatas are extremely pleased. The demigods become extremely pleased. So here is Lord Shiva, the prachetas who were on their way to render austerities for pleasing Lord Vishnu. Lord Shiva, being the Param Vaishnava, the greatest devotee of Lord Vishnu, he came to the prachetas to give them good advice, to help them in their resolve to please the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Vishnu. Here itself, we can see there are so many instances, like how many instances are needed for us to understand this fact that Krishna, Lord Vishnu, they are the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So many instances. Brahma Samhita, Lord Brahma singing the glories of Krishna, of Govinda Adi Purusha. Lord Shiva here is singing the glories of Lord Vishnu, of Krishna. So many ways are, given to us that to understand the fact that Krishna is indeed the Supreme Personality of Godhead, beyond any doubt, accepted by known authorities, around the planet, around the creation. But this is all revealed to us. But still, there are still some unscrupulous people who think and want to follow the Mayavad philosophy, or who want to follow something which is deviant, worshipping the devatas to be the absolute. They are misinformed. Srila Prabhupada always said that he used this phrase, poor fund of knowledge. And sometimes it's poor fund of knowledge, and sometimes it's just arrogance. That even though we know, we still choose to do something which is not the right thing. That is arrogance. And this rebellious nature, it is sometimes very difficult for us to fathom. Like Srila Prabhupada is explaining in the purport that, there are three energies of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. There's the external energy, there's the internal energy, and there's the marginal energy. Antaranga Shakti, Bahiranga Shakti, and Tatastha Shakti. So external energy is this manifestation of this material world. Internal energy is the manifestation of the spiritual world. And marginal energy is all of us, the living entity, who have the choice to either be on the external side or to be in the internal side. The choice is ours. That's why we are called as the marginal energy, or the Tatastha Shakti. So the choice is up to us, whether we choose to be in the internal energy of the Lord, or we choose to be in the external energy of the Lord. To be covered, we are going to be covered by illusion. The living entity, we are bound to be covered in illusion. We are bound to be covered by some energy or the other. But the choice is up to us. If we choose to be covered by the external energy, the external potency, then we are choosing to forget Krishna out of envy. Krishna bhuli jai jeeb bhagavancha kare, maya tare japotiya dhare. Means, if we want to forget Krishna, and if we want to enjoy separate from Krishna, like Srila Prabhupada is explaining in the purport, then what happens? Then as soon as we desire to enjoy separately from Krishna, immediately Maya pounces. Maya tare japotiya dhare means immediately Maya pounces on such a living entity and just pounces on that person. That is what happens in external energy. If we choose to be in the external energy, we will be covered. We will forget Krishna. We will forget the supremacy of Krishna. We will forget our eternal relationship with Krishna out of envy. Out of envy, out of the feeling that I want to enjoy separately from Krishna. I do not want to enjoy with Krishna. I want to enjoy separate from Krishna. This mentality drives us to forget Krishna out of envy. And thus we come under the grasp of the external energy. However, the devotees, the pure devotees, the Nitya Baddhas, the Nitya Siddhas, the Nitya Baddhas are the eternally conditioned living entities who chose to be under the coverings of the external energy, the Nitya Siddhas, those who are always under the protection of the internal potency of the Lord. They are also covered. They are also under illusion. But they forget the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna out of love. You see the Brajabasis, they have forgotten Krishna, the supremacy of Krishna. They love Krishna so much that they are actually pulling the ears of the Supreme Personality of Godhead when Krishna comes and steals butter at their home. What audacity! Can any yogis, rishis, munis, those who are doing tapasya for thousands and thousands of years, can they even fathom this fact? That pulling the ears of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Brajabasis are doing that. They are Nitya Siddhas. They have forgotten the supremacy of Krishna out of their pure love for Krishna. That is why Mother Jashoda, she is chasing behind Krishna with a stick in her hand and saying, Krishna, today I will not leave you. I'm going to beat you up. When Krishna ate mud, Mother Jashoda said, Kanha, how can you do this? What is wrong with you? Is delicacies at home? There's so much of butter, there's so much of yogurt, there's so much of beautiful milk sweets. And forgetting all of those delicacies, you're eating dirty mud, Krishna. What's wrong with you? Open your mouth, show me what you have. So I think this was the first time that Johnny, yes mama, eating sugar, no mama, open your mouth. And then when Krishna opened his mouth, Yashoda Maya didn't go ha ha ha. Yashoda Maya literally fainted as soon as she said, Krishna, Krishna, open your mouth. Because when Krishna opened his mouth, Krishna was going ha ha ha. But then Mother Yashoda saw the entire cosmic manifestation. Krishna was revealing who he is to Mother Yashoda. And she saw the entire cosmic manifestation, all the planetary systems within the beautiful transcendental mouth of Krishna. And then she saw the planet Earth. In the planet Earth, she saw Vraj. And within Vraj, she saw herself looking at the mouth of Krishna. And seeing all this, she was, it was like a mind freeze for her. And immediately she realized, what am I doing? This is Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And she folded her hands and she started glorifying Krishna with stuti and with so many prayers. Sanskrit verses were coming out and she was like, Krishna, forgive me, please. I've been, chastising you. You are the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And Krishna was like, oh, this is boring. Coming from Mother Jashoda, no. Sanskrit verses, ew, no. So immediately, Krishna just immediately covered her back again with his internal energy. And zoop, Mother Yashoda again forgot that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And she said, hey, Kanha, what is wrong with you? Why are you eating mud? Why is rasagullas and sandesh not enough for you? Why is butter not enough for you? You're eating mud of all things. And Krishna said, now I'm satisfied. Maya is again blasting me. I am so happy. This is the beautiful relationship the Brajbasis, the Nitya Siddhas have with Krishna. They have also forgotten the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the position of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but out of pure love for Krishna. They have forgotten. that Krishna is supreme. They're reciprocating him with him just because they're helplessly in love with Krishna. They themselves are like shocked. How can we love Krishna? Krishna Chaitanya, excuse me. They're themselves shocked that how can we love Krishna so much? Even more than our own children. We love Krishna. That is the shock of the Brajabasis. But they just helplessly are in love with Krishna. That is the pure stage of prema. That is the final stages of pure emotional love of God, which has no reason. Just like envy, you cannot say, oh, why are people so envious? We'll see that envy never comes amongst people who have different occupations. A cricketer is never envious of a person who is very good at tennis. Or a cricketer will never be envious of a person who's a very good cook. But a cricketer will be envious of another good cricketer because the profession is the same. That is the nature of envy. So sometimes the nature of envy can surpass even that. But generally speaking, that's how it is defined. But envy is such a thing that doesn't have a reason. Why was Dhritarashtra so envious of the Pandavas? Because Dhritarashtra, he was the eldest son. Pandu was the younger brother. Although Dhritarashtra was born blind, it was not because of his being blind that he was not allowed to ascend the throne of Hastinapur. But because Pandu, his younger brother, was more qualified than Dhritarashtra to ascend the throne, that's why Pandu became the king. But Dhritarashtra, that was the beginning of the envy creeping into the heart of Dhritarashtra. Because he started to feel that he is the victim. He started to feel that injustice has happened upon me, that I actually deserve this throne of Hastinapur. And I have been wronged that I have not been given what is rightfully mine. Because of this nature, Dhritarashtra was burning with envy. This was the reason why the envy was getting to such a height, to such an extent, that when Dhritarashtra's sons were born, they were born with this same consciousness. So much envy towards the Pandavas. Because all of them started feeling what Dhritarashtra was feeling. Injustice has been done to us. We are actually deprived of what is rightfully ours. It belongs to us and we have been deprived, and therefore I don't like the Pandavas. So according to the Kauravas, according to Dhritarashtra, their envy was very much justified from their point of view. Because they were considering themselves to be the victims. And whatever they did, as a result of that feeling, they never felt it to be wrong. They tried to, from the beginning days in the Gurukul, when the Kauravas and Pandavas were studying together, since that time, Duryodhan was so envious of Bhima, so envious. And it started by, in that young age, Duryodhan poisoned little Bhima. Of course, the result of that poisoning was that, Bhima came back more, powerful. That is the mercy of Krishna. But Duryodhan never felt that he's doing something wrong. Giving poison to another child and then putting that child and, immersing that child in the river. How bad is that? How wrong is that? It's morally, ethically, all kinds of ways that they have violated, but they never felt that they have done anything wrong. They felt justified. What they have done is right, because they considered themselves to be wronged. They considered themselves to be victims. So therefore, whatever they do is rightful, it's justified. That was the mentality. Starting from that time to every incident that Duryodhan and the Kauravas, and under the, guise of Dhritarashtra, under the, authority of Dhritarashtra, the Kauravas were doing these atrocities upon the Pandavas. Be it the house of flax, burning the Pandavas alive. What a conspiracy! To burn your own relatives? To make a house, a palace of lac, and to just burn the place down because you're so envious of your own cousins and you want to burn them down. Justified in the eyes of Dhritarashtra as well as the Kauravas. When they came back, not giving them Hastinapur, but giving them Khandavprasth. And when they transformed Khandavprasth by the mercy of Krishna, when the Pandavas transformed Khandavprasth to Indraprasth, that was also not liked by Dhritarashtra and the Kauravas. And that was a result why they invited the Pandavas to a dice match, to a game of dice. How much insult the Pandavas had to go through. In the presence of Dhritarashtra, the daughter-in-law of the family, Draupadi, was insulted. Still, Dhritarashtra didn't say a word. Why? Because Dhritarashtra still felt that what was happening to the Pandavas, they deserve it. Because I have been wronged. So what is coming to them, they deserve it. That is the nature of envy. That is how envious Dhritarashtra was. The Pandavas getting exiled. And the agreement was the 13th year of exile, of incognito. They have to get into incognito. And if they are recognized in the 13th year, again 12 years of exile. Because when Duryodhana was sending the Pandavas away, he said that I actually never want to see your faces again. Why did they keep this condition of the 13th year? Is because that Duryodhana was confident that these 5 Pandavas, nobody can, hide these kind of diamonds. They are precious jewels, such effulgent personalities. I mean, Bhima, Arjuna, they were like millions of suns combined. Bhima was like a mountain. How can you hide a mountain? It's impossible. So Duryodhana and everyone were very confident that in the 13th year of exile, we'll recognize them, again go for 12 years of exile. So this cycle would keep continuing and they would never come back to Hastinapur. That was the plan. But of course, Krishna has his plan. Rakhe Krishna mare Krishna rakhe ke. That if Krishna desires to save a particular person, nothing, no power in this world can destroy that plan of Krishna. What ill intent Ashwathama had, what ill motivation Ashwathama had, that when he found out that the 5 people that he killed in their sleep were not the 5 Pandavas, but they were actually the 5 sons of the Pandavas. When he came to the ashram of Vyasadeva to do Paschatap, to repent on his, horrible act, at that time Vyasadeva said that you are under illusion, my dear Ashwathama. You did not kill the Pandavas, but you killed the sons of the Pandavas. Ashwathama was so cruel, so horrible. He said, okay, if I have not killed the Pandavas yet, I'm going to kill the ascendants of the Pandavas. I'm going to kill the little tiny soul who is in the form of a baby in the womb of Uttara, Abhimanyu's wife. And Ashwathama pulled out Brahmastra and shot it towards the womb of Uttara. And Uttara could feel that something dangerous is coming towards her womb. And she ran to Krishna, Krishna, Trahi Mam, please protect me. Save me, O Krishna. And Krishna immediately became thumb size, the size of the thumb, and he entered Uttara's womb. And with a gada, a mace in his hand, he was protecting the embryo. He was just swirling the gada around his head and he was protecting the embryo like a Sudarshan chakra. There was nothing that could penetrate the protection of Krishna. Even Brahmastra could not kill Parikshit Maharaj when Krishna himself wanted to protect Parikshit Maharaj. How much ever envy anyone can have. But if Krishna wants to protect, he will go against the laws of nature. Krishna, when the Supreme Personality of Godhead acts, the laws of nature do not act. Urukrama Vikramanya. That when the Supreme Personality of Godhead wants to do something, no laws of nature can protect. The laws of nature, they just back off. Krishna can violate any law of nature. He violated Brahmastra. Brahmastra is the greatest, the most powerful weapon in this material world. It's the weapon of the creator, Brahma. And Krishna counteracted Brahmastra and saved Parikshit Maharaj. The Brahmastra had to go back. That is the potency of Krishna. When Krishna wants to protect, no matter what envy is going around, that still the devotees are protected by the divine will of Krishna, if Krishna wants to protect. So the devotees can never, be harmed in that sense. They are always under the protection of Krishna. So envy has no fixed reason why people can become so envious. Or because of this reason. They can concoct any kind of, crazy reason, which can seem very crazy to us, probably, but it's not crazy for them because they feel justified. Imagine after the battle of Kurukshetra, when the Pandavas came to see Dhritarashtra, Dhritarashtra had so much anger, so much envy for Bhima for killing all of his 100 sons, that Krishna actually, when Bhima was about to go and embrace Dhritarashtra, Krishna motioned to Bhima that no, you don't go. There was a big giant, iron, statue of Bhima there. So Krishna motioned that you put that statue in front of Dhritarashtra. And Dhritarashtra just took that, and he was very strong. Kshatriyas those days are very, very strong. So he just crushed that statue. And as soon as he crushed that statue, all of, Dhritarashtra's anger was melted. And that time was the first time that Dhritarashtra repented. That, oh, what have I done? Why did I kill my dear brother's son? I know my sons were on the side of Adharma. I knew what I am doing is wrong. That time when his anger was vented out, that's when Dhritarashtra realized. And Krishna gave Dhritarashtra a chance to rectify himself through the instructions of Vidura. And Dhritarashtra actually went back home, back to Godhead, because of the kindness of Vidura upon Dhritarashtra. That is the beauty of Krishna consciousness. that Krishna and his dear devotees never act out of ill intent. They don't have ill motivation towards anybody. Even though devotees may be succumbed to so many different atrocities by either by anyone external or sometimes even by devotees. But the devotees never hold a grudge. The devotees never act out of revenge. They never have ill motivation. Devotees don't do that. They rather take it that this is a purification that I deserve. That Krishna is so merciful that he put us in this condition. So this how we are receiving the mercy of so many other devotees, our spiritual masters. If we are, okay with our spiritual masters. I remember Srila Bhakticharya Swami Guru Maharaj. Such difficult times Maharaj had to face. I can never forget that because Srila Bhakticharya Maharaj, I was in Mayapur at that time. This was in 96, 97, when the Ritviks, they were coming up. And they had made some very nasty accusations against Srila Bhakticharya Swami Guru Maharaj. And I remember at that time, my Guru Maharaj had given me the service that we had to transcribe and translate Srila Bhakticharya Maharaj's statement against that. One line stood out to me in that, sincere appeal of Srila Bhakticharya Maharaj. He said that I'm not defending myself, but Krishna knows what I have done, and I have not done anything wrong. So let the entire world spit at me, but Srila Prabhupada knows what I have done. So if Srila Prabhupada knows, and if Srila Prabhupada is on my side, then I don't care if the rest of the world spits at me. That was the conviction of Srila Bhakticharya Maharaj. And I will never forget that statement. That statement was etched in gold that day in me. And truly, I can say that it is a fact that if our spiritual masters know who we are, then let the entire world point finger at us. It's okay. As long as our spiritual masters are confident of who we are still okay. Let the entire world spit at us. It's okay. No problem. If Guru knows and if he is on our side, then it's perfectly okay. Everything will be taken care of. It is by the mercy of Bhakticharya Maharaj, actually, that we are able to have that conviction today. So this is the nature of a pure devotee, that this is the conviction that they have, that if Krishna desires, he will protect. And however Krishna is giving his protection, that is the mercy of Krishna. A devotee accepts it like that. So a devotee knowingly places themselves at the shelter of the lotus feet of Krishna. Because a devotee knows that be it hell, be it this material world, or be it the spiritual world, that even if it's the spiritual world, if I'm forgetful of Krishna, what is the use of me being in the spiritual world? My only requirement is that Krishna, wherever you put me, let me never forget you. Let me never forget service to you. That's my only desire, oh Krishna. Please, whatever you wish to do, you can do with me. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, in his beautiful song of, this is the Atma Nivedana song by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur from Sharanagati. And he is saying over here in 4, 5, 6 verses, he's saying that if it is your will that I be born again, my Lord, then may it be in the home of your devotee. That is his first desire. He's first saying that may I be born, if first of all I don't want to be born, but if you want me to take birth, then let it be in the house of a devotee. Then text 5, Bhaktivinoda Thakur is saying that even if I'm born again as a worm, as long as I remain your devotee, I have no desire to be born even as Brahma, who is forgetful of you. So first he is desiring that may he be born in the house of a devotee. But he's saying that Krishna, but if your desire is that you will not allow me to be born in the house of a devotee, it's okay. Let me be born in any life form, but let me just have remembrance of you. Text 6 is saying, I simply yearn for the company of the devotee who is completely devoid of all desires of worldly enjoyment and liberation. I do not even desire liberation. I just desire the association of devotees who are helplessly attached to you. That is the desire of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. These are the kinds of, now we are on a forced lockdown. But when we are given these kind of situations, we can see how even my own cousins, sometimes they're saying when we call them, just to find out how everyone is doing. Some of my cousins, they're all saying, oh, we are so bored, we don't know what to do. And when I talk to devotees, the devotees are in ecstasy, they are in bliss, reading and nourishing Srimad Bhagavatam, nourishing themselves in Srimad Bhagavatam, nourishing themselves, diving into Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, the nectarian, blissful ocean of Chaitanya Charitamrita. Devotees are using this opportunity to dive deep into the nectar. That is the difference. What we choose, we are that marginal energy of the Lord. We can choose to be in the external side, forgetful of Krishna, or we can use any situation, whatever situation comes, we can use it in glorifying Krishna. Only a grateful heart can become a true recipient of the Lord's mercy. This statement we should never ever forget, because this material world, it's the nature of this material world that we will be faced with challenging situations at every step of our life. Padam padam yat vipadam. This is material world. It's dukhalayam ashasvatam. It is temporary and it is full of misery. So how do we deal with a place where we are in this situation, where we are in a place full of misery? Every step is a misery. There's no doubt about it. Just because we are devotees doesn't mean that we become, above the material suffering. No. There is every opportunity, there's every chance that we can also be the next person. But even amongst this, how can we always stay safe? Now is the time that we can think that Krishna, you have really given us, what Parikshit Maharaj, what he was going through. Parikshit Maharaj knew for certain that he is leaving in 7 days. For us, before this situation, particular situation that we are in the lockdown, we did not know, or we know that yes, any moment can be our last. But right now, I feel that all of us can realize that we could be the next victim. So therefore, utilize this moment to surrender to Krishna. Chant sincerely. And how much ever possible, make ourselves available, because now is the time that people are actually looking for some kind of solace in meditation. New people. It's the pandemic time, it's the epidemic times that, is best for reaching out to people, to bring them to the shelter of Krishna, because people are looking for alternative. And social media nowadays is so potent, it is so vibrant. Everyone has a phone at their fingertips. Everyone is on YouTube, they are on the news feed. So if we can make ourselves available, where we are giving them the message of Krishna, giving them mantra meditation, that is going to be so pleasing to Guru and Krishna. Making ourselves available to the best of our capacity while being in the restrictions of our own homes, not going out, not saying that, oh, I am safe, protected by Krishna, I can go out into the streets and do Harinam. No, that would be very foolish. We should be careful not to do that. We should take all precautions and stay safe, but at the same time try to reach out, which will be not only beneficial for ourselves, but to everyone who hears this message of Srimad Bhagavatam, Srimad Bhagavad Gita, Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Let's make that Mahamantra accessible to as many people as possible. Let us think of innovative ways of how we can make this mantra reach all people. So this is the way that we can really make our spiritual masters, Srila Prabhupada, this will be a tiny way to show our reciprocating love to them for what they have given us. They have saved us by their loving mercy upon us, unconditional, causeless mercy upon us. They have saved us. Now it is our turn to save others and bring them to the lotus feet of Guru and Krishna. Krishna would be so pleased by this action. So, yes, we are in very difficult times, difficult situations, but a devotee always looks for opportunities that, what here is said. This is a, quotation by Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami in the purport that we read today, that Krishna bhuli shei jeeb anadi bohir mukh ataevo maya tare dai sangsara dukh, which means that because the living entities have forgotten Krishna, that's why Maya is giving them the dukkha, the misery of this world. So we have the formula of how anyone can become free from this kind of material anxiety. Srila Prabhupada says in the Acharya series, when he is installing the deities, the beautiful deities at Melbourne, Australia, Srila Prabhupada says in that lecture, he says that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has come to your country. He has come to teach you how to become free from all anxieties, Prabhupada says. And Srila Prabhupada is continuing to say that this material world is full of anxiety, but anyone can become free from all anxiety if they simply follow the path chalked down by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Simple verdict of Srila Prabhupada. And our duty is just to repeat this message of Srila Prabhupada, of what we have heard from our spiritual masters. Just repeat it. And then we'll see the situation. It is going to be victorious. We will become victorious because anyone who spreads the message of Krishna, Krishna says, they are the most dear to me. So let us try to become dear to Krishna. This is such a beautiful opportunity that Krishna has provided all of us. Let us try to take advantage of it and reach out using our intelligence. How we can do so? There's so many ways we can do that. Make videos, make inspirational videos, 1 minute, 2 minute videos, just post them. People see. Use your Facebook. Everyone is on Facebook. Just, share your experience. So many people can, read that and become benefited. You never know. Even if one soul you're able to bring during this pandemic time, even if one soul you're able to make them get attached to Krishna, what a glorious offering that would be from your side, from our side. Just trying to bring one soul to Krishna. So, with this, we will end here. If there's any questions, comments, or reflections, we can take that now. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. ISKCON Vartaman Guru Vrinda ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. Thank you for the beautiful class, Mataji. I have a doubt, Mataji. I don't know, it keeps contradicting my mind. Whenever I like to share something on Facebook about or of doing something or we are into something, I'm also very scared that it can get into pride, Mataji. So sometimes I like to share, sometimes I'm scared that it will take away whatever tiny Bhaktilata beach has grown here in our house. It might go away with that pride. So how to keep that pride away and just do this, it as a service, Mataji? If you guide us, that will be very great, Mataji. Thank you.
Very nice question, Anuradha. Thank you. So, the way that we cannot be proud is that whatever, everyone will glorify, that, oh, wonderful, so nice to see this. When people glorify, when devotees glorify that, in your text, visibly, physically, and mentally, offer all of that to Guru and Krishna. That it is just by their mercy. Don't keep that praise with you. If you keep that praise with you, then yes, there is a chance that we can get proud. But if you pass it on to Guru and Krishna, then you will do it as a service. Devotee kids are so talented. I tell this even to Gandharvika, that Vrinda is so talented. Aurav is so talented. All of our kids are so talented. So, inspirational talks by the children, now the children are at home. So this is something that we can think about, that make the children speak something and put their talk on the videos. When we hear from a little child, it makes the world of difference. And when the kids speak, they speak from their heart. And then whatever credit is coming, whatever praises are coming, pass it on. That it is simply by the mercy of Guru and Krishna that the child is doing like this. So it's nothing to do with us. That's the only way that we can be rid of pride. But that should never stop us from, sharing. That's how we should do it. I hope this answers your question.
Yes, Mataji, thank you so much. Can we also pray before we, put that share
Absolutely.
or post or publish?
Absolutely. You just pray actually all the time, not just while you're putting the post. Pray all the time.
Okay, Mataji.
But especially while you read the comments, pray. Especially while you're posting, pray. Whenever those comments come back into your mind, pray. Whenever those thoughts come into your mind that, someone is glorifying, in your mind, you should always think that this is actually deserving not of my child, but it's actually the mercy of Guru and Krishna. Then pride will never come. So every time this kind of thought comes, every time pass it on to Guru and Krishna.
And also, Mataji, Orav also likes to see what people are saying and, liking. So he can also get the pride. How to keep him away from that, Mataji? For the kids, how can we? Because they don't understand this concept of Guru so much.
Right. But to them, you can just say that, for the child, unless, one thing is there that, as a parent, I have seen my parents doing this to me all the time. Till today, they do not glorify me to my face. They may glorify me when I'm not there. but never in front of me. Never. This is something that our parents, at least my parents, I have seen them doing. But nowadays I see the opposite, you know. Sometimes we see our own parents, they're glorifying the children in front of the children so much. And this is true even of spouses, you know. Um, I've never seen my mother glorifying my father in front of him or vice versa, you know, um, because pride can set in at that time. You know, when our known people glorify us in front of us, that's when, you know, pride sets in. But rather, they would never be critical, but they would encourage. There's a difference between encouraging and there's a difference between just glorifying. You know, then parents today, they will say, oh, does that mean that we don't even encourage our children? Because they feel that when they say something, you know, in glorification, that is encouragement. But there's a difference between encouragement and glorification. So we should know as parents what are parenting guidelines, you know, how it can be harmful to the children if the parents are glorifying them in front of them. You know, this is something that all of us as parents need to be mature about. You see anywhere, you know, you see in the life of Lord Ram. Lord Ram was never glorified to his face by Maharaj Dasharath. Maharaj Dasharath never, you know, he just encouraged Ram, but he never glorified. He glorified Lord Ram when Lord Ram was not present to others. Maharaj Dasharath did that. But to Lord Ramachandra's face, no, never. We are coming up with Ram Navami is coming. So, you know, we should dive into these pastimes. You see, Lord Chaitanya, you know, when the Brahmanas would come and complain to Jagannath Mishra, or, you know, any Navadvip Vasis would come and complain to Jagannath Mishra would pick up a stick and say, today Nimai is not going to be left by me. I'm going to beat him up. And then some Brahmanas, they would come to Jagannath Mishra, do you know your son is the Supreme Personality of Godhead? How can you beat him up? He's the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And Jagannath Mishra would say in Bengali, it's there in Chaitanya Bhagavat, he would say, Manush korte hobe. He said, he may be the Supreme Personality of Godhead. I don't care. But now he's under my responsibility. Therefore, I have to give him the proper education that he cannot behave in certain ways. That's a proper parent. So parent does not mean that we always say, you know, glorify our children to their face. No, we encourage our children, but there's a difference. How we encourage and how we glorify. We all know that. So glorifying the children to their face is a very, very detrimental thing for the children. And when the children grow up, when they grow out of the protection of the parents, and when they are faced with real life scenarios, they don't get the same kind of glorification, they suffer. Because they've been used to this. They suffer because of that. I have seen so many wonderful parents, you know, they have really taken this literally, you know, and they are doing so well with their children. So well. The children are encouraged by the parents, not glorified in front of them. Very important rule of parenting. Very important rule. So that's something that you can think about for Aurav. I hope that helps.
Yes, Madhavi, thank you so much. Very, very valuable tips, Madhavi. Thank you. Go to bed in a minute.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. Any other questions or comments, reflections?
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Thank you so much for class.
Hare Krishna.
I do have a couple of things. Well, since you just mentioned this
glorification versus encouragement thing. I'll start with that. I was in a seminar very recently, actually it was in February, and it was led by a well-known devotee couple. And I was really so struck and touched by the I'm not sure. I would say glorification. Yeah, that the husband was expressing for his wife. Like I said, the husband and wife, they were doing a seminar together, and he was like glorifying how loving she was. I really forget the exact details. All I remember is how it affected me,
Mm-hmm.
because his glorification of her just was heart melting, because she was sitting right beside him, and I feel like you don't see that so often. So just trying to, I don't know if you were sitting there how you would have felt about it.
See, the thing is that saying good words, okay, is not. We know what glorification really is, what encouragement really is, and what it is to state a statement, to make statements. Yes, so there is difference in all of them. When seminars are given, especially by a couple, it is important to, especially maybe on grihastha life or on how to raise children, or any kind of grihastha issues. At that time, it is very important for each of the partners presenting to authorize the other person, or to share things about the other person, because we cannot just talk book philosophy. We have to give practical explanations. So that is a requirement at that time. We do that. And that is perfectly actually required to establish the credibility of the other person. It is very much needed. So that's why I'm saying there is a fine line that needs to be drawn, that we are not overly glorifying another person, but we are stating facts. But in the minds of the children, sometimes when, parents actually, in the Gurukul, I am a, trained teacher from Mayapur Gurukul. We were taught in the Gurukul training classes, we were taught that, please, sometimes the parents, we see that they are, telling their children, oh, you are a demigod who has come to me, and therefore I can never raise my hand at you. That is wrong. That is called glorification, which is going to affect the children negatively. Because, yes, it is a fact that all our children are actually devatas. They are very, very, very special souls. But there are ways that we need to, tell them that, not tell them that, oh, you're a very special soul, therefore I cannot raise my voice at you, or I cannot do this, I cannot do that. And, then the children, because they are also in the coverings of this material world, although they are very special souls, they, as soon as they come in touch with this world, they get tainted too. And then they utilize that to become proud or to take advantage. So many things. So that is what we need to be careful of. Does that make sense?
Yes. And when it comes to glorifying our spouses, if it's not in front of them,
if it's not for the purpose of establishing their credibility in such a context, like a seminar or something, then we should refrain from doing that in front of them. Is that?
I mean, it's not a rule, Mataji. Unfortunately, these things are not rules set in black and white. They are not principles set in black and white, unfortunately. It's based on time, place, and circumstances,
Yeah.
There is no fixed rule that yes, you should do this or yes, you should not do this, It is based on time, place, and circumstances. And we all have, like, it is said that we need to a good grihastha seminar, as we, myself and my prabhu, we also give grihastha seminars. So we do make this a practice that couples, when they are by themselves, they should say nice things to each other, glorify each other. That really strengthens the relationship, you know
Oh, yeah.
So, but some people do it very mechanically. Oh, you're this, oh, you're that, oh, you're this, oh, you're that. No, you have to be realistic. So, it is based on time, place, and circumstances. We cannot say that, oh, when you're in front of people, you just don't say anything good about your wife, or you don't say anything good about your husband. No, that's not a rule. We cannot put that down as a rule. We need to use our discretion, and utility is the principle, Srila Prabhupada said. So trust that.
Utility is a principle.
Pardon me?
What you said made perfect sense. And then you said utility is the principle.
Yes. Srila Prabhupada said utility is the principle.
I'm just trying to apply that principle in this context. Utility.
Utility is the principle, which means that based on time, place, and circumstances, do what you feel is right.
Okay.
Given the circumstances.
Yes, for me that's a perfect answer. Thank you.
Thank you, Mataji, for your perfect question. Thank you.
I did have, I don't know if I should give somebody else a chance, but I did have another.
Yes, please.
The mood of the devotee, pure devotee, is whatever Krishna wants, that's what he wants, and he wants it only for the sake of the glorification of Krishna. So, I'm referring to the part of your talk when you were saying that the devotee doesn't mind even having to take another birth. He just wants that birth to be as his devotee.
Right. Right.
Some even most lowly position, like the fifth verse of the Shastakam, right? So I'm just wondering, because the devotee is so utterly selfless, if I'm thinking that if Krishna even wants to have him take birth not as a devotee, then the devotee would even be receptive to that.
Definitely. You see, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he's not even putting forth the condition that he wants to be a devotee. The only condition is that he's putting forth is that Krishna, may I remember you always and may I never forget you. That's the condition. That in whatever situation I may be in, Krishna, may I always remember you. Which of course means being a devotee. But that is definitely a condition that we are praying all the time. That's why even Prahlad Maharaj, he did not mind that he said that, okay, let me take the sins of all the people in this world and let me go to the hellish planets. It's okay. As long as I remember you, Krishna, I don't mind taking on the suffering of all the living entities. That's what even Srila Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj did in the mood of Prahlad Maharaj, So we see these devotees, these great acharyas, these great personalities, they have only one request from Krishna, that Krishna, may I always remember you and never forget you. That's the meaning of this Mahamantra, that may we never stop chanting this Hare Krishna Mahamantra. That's our only request to Krishna. And externally, Krishna may put us in any situation, we don't mind. It's okay. As long as we are chanting Hare Krishna, for us, that is the spiritual world. Wherever, the sound vibrations of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra is going, that is the spiritual world for us. So that is the prayer. That's the only prayer of the devotee. That please allow me to always chant. Allow me to always remember you, O Krishna.
Okay, but as you said, constant remembrance of Krishna is being a devotee.
Mm-hmm.
But when a devotee makes this prayer, Krishna, please, you don't even have to make me a devotee. Just allow me to remember you.
Yeah.
When he makes that prayer, in his mind, what's the difference for him? For us, we know that he's a devotee.
Right.
Because he wants that constant remembrance. But in his mind, what is the difference for him between those two prayers? Krishna, let me always remember you, and you don't even have to make me a devotee.
Make me born in the family of devotees. What it means is that, when we are born in the family of devotees, situations are favorable for our Krishna consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
But the prayer that a devotee is doing, that Krishna, even if the situations are unfavorable, whatever situation you place me under, may I just remember you.
Oh, beautiful.
That's what it is. That whatever situation, be it favorable situation, be it unfavorable situation, whatever situation I am in, O Krishna, let me just remember you all the time and never forget you. That is the prayer of a devotee.
Yeah, very nice.
Yeah?
Okay, just one. This is a technical question.
Yes.
Minor question is about the exile of the Pandavas.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't get the numbers straight.
Mm-hmm.
When they were sentenced to be in exile,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
They were banished for 13 years, is it?
Yeah, it was 12 years of exile and the 13th year in incognito. And if they are recognized in that 13th year of incognito, then again another 12 years.
Okay.
Yes.
And
so it was a total of 13 years, but the 13th year was of incognito.
Right.
Yeah.
So you were saying that, you don't sentence them like that because because he knew that they would never be able to
hide themselves.
fulfill that.
Yeah.
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 So, and the cycle would just repeat.
You're right. Right.
Forever. So, why not just make it banishment forever?
Forever. Well, see, there's nothing called, even in the scriptures, there's nothing called being banned for life. That's not considered to be human. That's not considered to be even part of any kind of a punishment. To be banned for life is not something that exists actually. Life imprisonment, that also goes for just 14 years actually. When we say life imprisonment, it actually means 14 years of imprisonment. That's according to justice of law of justice, because there's nothing called as for life. And Srila Prabhupada also
14
was.
Years.
Pardon me?
Where is that 14 years? Is that Vedic or what?
No, in justice today, in laws of justice today, sometimes
We have life imprisonment today.
Pardon me?
we have sentences of life imprisonment.
We do. There's no doubt about it. But those life imprisonments can be up to in India, I believe it's for 14 years. And, sometimes it could be based on the gruesomeness of the act. It could be even 21 years. And then if based on their conduct, there is a clause always to life imprisonment that goes along with it, which says that if there is any sign of, change in the person, then they are let out. So that is also there. So, being banished for life, being banished is, for normal people, unless the act that they are being punished for is something extremely gruesome, they are not given life sentence. They're not. Life banishment is not something that is, even Vedic or even in today's day and age, it's not something that is done. Unless the act is really,
This part I don't understand, because in this country, we do have, people who are sentenced for life without even possibility for parole.
Could be maybe because of the gruesomeness of the act that they are in for, but there are very rare cases like that. Very rare. But generally, I'm just talking in general sense, that, life banishment is not something that comes out of normalcy. Let me put it that way. So for the Pandavas, to be banished for life, I mean, in the mind of Dhritarashtra, in the mind of Duryodhana, this was life banishment for them. But for the Pandavas, it was an opportunity for them to come back. You see? So, but in the mind of Dhritarashtra and in the mind of Duryodhana, they thought that they can never, they'll always be in the forest. They'll always be in exile because we'll recognize them and they'll go back. So, that's how the whole thing is, unfortunately. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Hare Krishna. Any other questions or comments? Reflections? If not, we can end here.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. If nobody else has any question, I have one more doubt, Mataji.
Yes, Anuradha. Yes.
Thank you, Mataji. Mataji, when we say, like somebody says something and when we reply back, all glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to Guru Maharaj, it sounds to me, because of my conditioning, very, very mechanical, and for the sake of saying, I'm saying it. How to actually implement it in our heart and in our mind and in our life, Mataji?
When we first started chanting Hare Krishna, we were forcing ourselves, right? We didn't feel like chanting. We used to force ourselves, even when we used to see everyone, all the devotees, automatically we used to, out of maybe nature, we would say hi, or we used to say bye when we are going. But then we had to practice Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. We practice. And then it becomes habit. So, Srila Prabhupada gave a very beautiful analysis. He said, one devotee asked Srila Prabhupada that, Prabhupada, I don't feel enthusiastic at all to do anything, to do any service. Srila Prabhupada said, act enthusiastically. It's okay. You act. You act enthusiastically, then one day you will feel enthusiastic. So, when we are practicing all the time, because you see, our nature, by being in this world for so many births and lifetimes, our nature has become that, yes, we want to keep the praise to ourselves. And we want to pass out the criticism. That's our nature. The material world is very opposite, you see. Criticism in spiritual life, we keep the criticism, we pass on the praise. But in material life, we keep the praise and we pass on the criticism. Very beautiful example. If someone comes and says, this is your fault, your family is breaking apart because of you. If anyone comes and says this to us, what would be our reaction? No, it's not my fault. It's because, people in my family are behaving like this with me, and look how people are torturing me, what kind of atrocities I have to go through. And we give, like millions and millions of reasons how we are the victims. Never accept the thing that the fault could be ours, that our family may be breaking apart because of us. We never accept it. We'd always point fingers at others. That is the nature of this world. And if anyone praises us, oh, you cook so nicely. Yeah. Oh, thank you. Yes, 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 I do. That is material world. But spiritual world teaches us that praise anyone does, like Radhanath Maharaj, Srila Radhanath Swami Guru Maharaj, he told us one time very, very beautiful statement. He said, when someone, like when our children, if our children come crying to us that, oh, look, what happened? That friend told me this. What do we tell as parents? Oh, don't take it seriously. That friend doesn't know you, you don't even, don't take it seriously. And then the child feels very nice. Okay, I won't take it seriously because my mama said that don't take it seriously. So, when as devotees, when we receive praise, we come smiling to our Guru. Look, Guru Maharaj, I got praised. And then the Guru says, don't take it seriously. It's okay. So that's how we should be. But don't take it seriously. People are praising you. They don't know you. They don't know who we actually are. That's why they are praising. So don't take it seriously. That is spiritual education. And if anybody is criticizing, they are my best friends because they're criticizing me. They're puncturing my ego. They're my best friends. That is spiritual teaching. I hope this helps, Anuradha.
Yes, Mataji, you are very, very beautiful, Mataji. Thank you. We'll always remember this before saying Jai Shiva.
Don't take it seriously. Don't take it seriously.
Surely, Mataji will not take it seriously. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Any more questions?
I just wanted to say in this regard,
Yes.
I once heard a quote by Bhaktisiddhanta.
Yes. Yes.
In referring to people who praise us.
Yes.
He said we should stay away from such people.
Yes, exactly. They are our worst enemies, Sri Srila Prabhupada said. And those who criticize me, they are my best friends. Yes, thank you. Thank you, Mataji, for sharing that beautiful quote of Sri Srila Prabhupada. Yeah. Very nice.
Thank you very much for your very, very inspiring class. In this present situation, like I'm accusing that there is nobody in my area network. But Mataji, from today's lecture, I understand that Shri Prabhupada, Srila Gurudev, and all Srimad Brahmachari and all Bhakti Maharaj, Bhakti Maharaj, all Maharaj are blessing with us. We have to start. The Prabhupada is sitting in one corner in a garden, and like that we can do kirtan evening time. Because I have been here, we will know the each other. We don't know the neighbor, and now we are talking with each other because everybody needs help. So Mataji, this time we can do kirtan alone in our area, Mataji. I learned this lesson from Koti Temples. Pranam, Hare Krishna.
Jai Vrinda Gopika Mataji. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. Very nice.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Please accept my respectful obeisances. I am very Guru Maharaj and Shri Prabhupada. Mataji, thank you so much. As always, today's lecture was also nectarian and very inspiring.
I have a very, very basic question. I have 4-year-old twins, and when we say encouraging kids and mm, um, and not glorifying them, what is it, Mataji?
This is a parenting seminar in itself. A very nice question. It's not a basic question. Your question is very, very important. But your question, it can get into 6 hours of seminar. But I will try to answer it uh, as shortly possible. You see, when we glorify our children, I'm not just saying that you should not glorify the children, but sometimes we glorify them a bit too much, which can, take them, which can rub off the other side of them, basically. So, being a little bit critical of the children. I'm not saying, like sometimes parents draw the line, they're not able to draw the line of being overly criticizing and being overly glorifying. So there's a fine line that we as parents, we know what it is. That what is the stretching zone of our children, we know that very well. What is the comfort zone of our children, we know that very well. As parents, each and so these things cannot be told like a rule book, because each child is very different and each parent are very different. So there cannot be one set rule for everyone, but these are certain guidelines that we need to follow, that um, have a bit of constructive criticism. Constructive criticism doesn't mean that you point finger at them and say that, look, you're doing this wrong. No, that can also be not psychologically correct for the children. But even correcting the children or telling them certain things how to do in a very positive way, giving them positive feedback. And always remember the sandwich rule. When we want to correct our children, we tell them something nice that they're actually doing, like something as simple as, hey, you made up your bed today, very good. But however, could you also do the laundry? Could you also fold the clothes and keep them in everyone's closet? Could you do that? And then again, say something nice as, why don't you just, today I'm so impressed that you vacuumed the whole house. I'm just giving these as, we are never this formal with our children, of course, given that as a thing. But I'm just saying that, these are the kinds of ways that we need to deal with our children. Not overly keep glorifying them, but at the same time, giving them corrections when it is needed, but doing it in a loving way, still. Not making them hate us for correcting them. Sometimes, when we are just glorifying them only, like from childhood, only if we are only telling them good, 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 and then one time, by the way, we say something bad, the kids are not able to take that. That why? What did I do wrong today? You never pointed out anything wrong. So we should be careful to draw that balance. So, as I said, this is a parenting seminar in itself, but we do have, a session coming up in the mid morning session with Gopi Gita Mataji. She'll be talking about dealing with children. And there are so many, I mean, we also have like beautiful parenting seminars that we have with us, how to actually setting the guidelines, so to speak, because as I said, it cannot be one rule fit all. It cannot be like that. There's nothing written in black and white that yes, this is the golden rule you follow and you'll be successful. No, we can just give you guidelines, and then you have to take as a parent, you have to have the discretion of using what tool you would need to raise your child in a proper way. I hope this helps.
Yes, Mataji. Yes, Mataji. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Any more questions or comments?
Hare Krishna Mataji, thank you so much for a wonderful class and anything else. One more question, Mataji. The kids, when they are young, they listen to us and they'll do whatever we say, but when they're growing up, there'll be so much deviation by us. How can we means give them to be more when they're growing up, Mataji?
Yes. You know, I'm sorry that I'm giving my own example. Forgive me for that, but I'm actually glorifying my parents for this. I have seen the way my parents have. I'm the only child to my parents, but I have literally now. When I look back, I can see the way they have done. You know, I mean, I'm not saying because I turned out this way, but as a parent, they have really, really, I have seen how much they have really tried. In my teenage years, I literally saw how they have put into action the words of Chanakya Pandit, that how in the early ages we need to be very loving to the children. Then my Prabhu knows the exact Sanskrit verse. I don't know the Sanskrit verse for this, but it said that between certain age, when they're in the Kaumara age, there's tadayat, means you need to show them the stick, means that is the corrective age. And then Krishna Chaitanya, when they're in their teenage, you need to become their friends. You need to become their friends and, know that, give them their space, but know that you are there for them, as their well wisher, and that they can confide in you, It's very important for a child to feel that security, you know. So to find a best friend in the parents is the success of good parenting. But of course we need to know when to be the friend and when to be the person with a stick too. So that is a balance that we really need to derive, and how to then later on in the later ages, how the parent then becomes like the child and the child becomes like the parent. So this is Chanakya Pandit's guidelines of how to deal with young adolescent people, children, is that try to make yourself, put yourself in their shoes once in a while, and try to think from their point of view. And sometimes, especially in this country, or even in India, actually, not just in this country, I would say, but many times we see that parents are not able to have that kind of relationship with the children, so they actually see that some other adult the children are reciprocating with, so they get their children more in touch with that particular adult. That's why the phrase comes, it takes an entire village to raise a child, so that's where communities come together. We see how the community can really help in the growth of a child, because everything cannot be done by parents. It cannot. So we need the help and assistance of the community that we are affiliated with. So that's also something that we do need to consider, that sometimes in the teenage years the kids may not relate to the parents. So let's try to find out who the kids are actually relating to. Some adult, take that adult into confidence and see if you can help that child, through their teenage years. Does that make sense?
Yes, Mataji.
I mean, I'm really sorry, because these things, they are these are things that As I said, they are seminars in themselves. All of your questions, they're seminars in themselves. But I'm just trying to give you, as concise of an answer as I can. But I hope this
Really
helps.
helps us, Mataji. Yeah.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna Mataji, again, we were so tired. There is no question, but please one seminar that how can we tackle our adult kid? Hari has told us.
Sure. We can speak to the organizers. Please pass on your requests to the organizers, and we are at your service. We can do whatever we are asked to do. We'd love to serve in any way possible. Thank you.
Like up to 10 grade, they are good for us, but after that it is difficult for us to tackle them.
Sorry, I couldn't hear the whole thing. Maybe your voice broke in between. What was that? Was it a question?
Not question, Mataji. I was talking that up to 10 grade they follow whatever they are coming for for japa, but after that they are not following sincere. Go down.
So that's where association comes into practice. That association of their kind of age group of people, and another person who they can look up to, who they are looking up to, who inspires them. That really helps at that age.
Yeah, thank you, Mataji. If nobody have any question, can we end the call here?
Yes, please. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mataji, for enlightening class today, and we are very grateful to you. We look forward for your session again and again in the future, Mataji. Thank you so much. Vancha kalpatarubhyasya krupasindhuveva patitanam pavnebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Tantra Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Our great Kalashida Mataji ki jai. Thank you so much.
Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrinda ki jai. Thank you all so much.
This session is no longer being recorded.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.